Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Transformers review. As you can see, I'm going to do one of my base formers this time, and this is G1 metroplex. Now he's an Autobot base former. This is just the box at the minute. I've already got his inner packaging out of here just to make it a little bit simpler to show you. As you can see, great G1 box art as usual. Box is a little bit tatty, but then it's getting on over 20 years old. This is from 1986, I believe, this toy. Usual battle scene on the back there with Triptychon, which obviously was Metroplex's sort of nemesis in the cartoons as well as in the comics. And I'll bring in his tech spec if I can actually get that into shot for you. Might have to just move the camera a little bit just to get this close enough. If you can actually see that and read that. Okay. Now I'll discard the box for now because there literally isn't enough room to show it all in one go. This is what you get as the inner packaging. Quite a lot of parts, so like I say, this is how he comes. Now, first and foremost, you get a really thick set of instructions. You obviously get a tech spec decoder, but as per usual, I haven't got that in there. Right, now, first of all, we'll get to some of the actual parts, what he comes with. First of all, you've got a red tower part and a white tower part. Now they go together. You get two plastic sections which are both the same, though they do have opposite stickers applied to them, but they form part of the obviously the base mode, but they also form these sort of knee parts. You get a little white gun turret, a grey tower part, a double red cannon, a small black car called Scamper. You get a little grey part which doubles up as a tower with a fold out white piece, and doubles up as a tank called Slammer. You get two little black arms which go with Scamper, a white tower piece, like and tower part. Now you get like a medium sized black gun. I'll come to that in a little while. You get a tiny little black gun, and that's for Scamper as well. And you get 3 missiles like so. These are the same missiles actually as they use in the Overlord figure as well, so in case you're missing some for one or other, they are universal. Now you get a left and a right black fist. You get a left and a right handed black cannon, large black cannons, and last but not least, you get 2 great big sprung loaded red cannons. And again, I'll get back to what all these bits do as we go through the review. Now, as you can hear the creaking polystyrene, I've got the main figure out. Now, he sort of comes, when he's packaged, he sort of comes like so. So he's near enough in his robot mode, but I will get to that sort of last of all, I think. I'll show him in his base mode first. Now, to do that, I believe you have to revolve. You shouldn't have to revolve him at the waist. That's it. You just didn't want to move there to start with. there you go. So you turn him like his legs back to front. You then split the leg sections open like so, and bring them up. Do the same on both sides, folding them out, and that way you can actually rest it down. I'll move the camera a little bit with all this clutter of parts. Just like I say, there's not a great deal of room with this figure. Now, for his sort of normal sitting mode, you push this arm round to the back, turn the red antenna out the way, and flip this part over so you see the helipad. You turn this arm over like so, and you push his head down. Now these leg sections can then fold out. Again, I'm going to have to move the camera a little bit just so you can see it all. That's it. And you can open the black door on the front there and fold that down so it becomes a ramp. Now, that's his main sort of base part sorted out. Now you get to add all the bits on. So first of all, you've got the tower, and you can fit that on a post which is on the back here, and that just forms like a post on the building. You can then take, let's do his knee bits first. I believe that one goes on there, and these just clip in place. There's a couple of little tabs on each of these, just either side of that post there, and they just clip into place, he says, and then they don't do it. You just got to line up. That's it. It goes in with a reassuring snap. There are little hole positions there what you have to line up. There's like a little ridge, if I bring that in on the camera, a little ridge there, and it's got to go into the holes either side in there. That's it. There you go. Now, let's see. Well, next bit you can add in, I believe, that little post in, or doesn't not. Just trying to remember now offhand. I'll have to look at the box art because it's quite a confusing thing. No, sorry, you don't use that one yet. You open up slammer. What I'm getting it confused with is slammer goes in that where the fist would go normally in the arm, like so, to form another tower. You then take the red and white parts I showed you, which form a tower, and connect them like so, and then they've got two posts there, and that just goes in and sits up the top there. Now, these legs, by the way, can revolve around in different directions, so you can have these base parts out in different directions as to how you want it sort of set out. A couple of gimmicks in this mode. You can take scamper and put in inside like there in like a garage, and you flick the black piece back, and it's forwards, flick it forwards, and it sends scamper out of there. I'll just do that again. It's a little bit temperamental. There we go. Oh, and straight down onto the floor. That I think is his main base mode sorted out. Now you have to sort of forgive me because I haven't actually played with this for, like I say, a good many years. So it's just remembering. There's quite a lot to this figure. In this mode, pretty good. He fits with all of the combiner sort of size transformers, and if I bring the Cyberverse figure in, I've got Springer and as you can see, he fits in quite well with this sort of size base. You've got a helipad there, sort of repair bays here, so various sort of things you can do with it. You can, although it doesn't really show it in this mode, a secondary sort of defensive mode, you could fit the big guns on here, and then they could always be sort of like defensive positions. But that's sort of saying it's not really in the instructions, it's just something that I tended to do if I had him in this mode. Now, to transform him to his next mode, which is a mobile attack base, you take off the towers, you take this tower off, and you get the double red cannon, and that pegs inside like so, and then fits back on the other way up. You need to press there's a black button on the back here, and I will show you this when I give a bit more of a 360 of the figure, and that releases his head up. So you turn the helipad back over, and then you've got a spinning flap there on top, and you need to turn that right over, a little bit temperamental, and that brings out another gun. You put his head back down at that point, because you need to lift it up to be able to spin that part over. Close the ramp up. You need to turn the arms that way, so you've got to bring that one back round and flip it up here. You then have to bring the legs back down and close them up again like so. So you're closing it back up, and then you bring, well, you flick it down first is probably best. So turn the body round and then bring those up. Oh no, sorry, I shouldn't have closed that part. Getting ahead of myself. You leave those parts open like so, and bring those bits up like that, so you end up with a long base. Now you can pull that antenna out, put the loose one in to form an opposite, so that again it's like another pair of cannons. You can then take the black cannons, which I believe, going by the pictures rather than trying to do it from memory, go with the post at the top, and they fit into holes on the side like so. And again, we've got another set of guns. You can then take the big red cannons, and they fit in holes on there, and that's his attack base mode. Now it does have the advantage that you can, at this point where he's not sort of in a normal base mode, flick the antenna part of slammer back shut and fit his white gun, and that just pegs in up there. And then you've got a little tank, a little bit like I'm trying to think of Triptychon's little one. No, name escapes me offhand, but where he's got a little drone vehicle, where then you've got one here as well, so you've got slammer, his metroplexes, but you've also got obviously scamper. Now you take, for this vehicle mode, you take his little arms and you fit them on little holes on the roof, and that gives him a sort of like cannons in car mode. It's a really nice little vehicle mode, a little six-wheeled car. I'll get to his transformation in a little bit. Anyway, so that's his main attack base mode. Now he does have another little feature you can do in this mode, and that's in this black piece here. You can flick that open, and then you've got a nice chromed out, I'll turn it that way, you've got a nice chromed out set of rocket launchers which fold out there, and again, really nice little feature. They didn't really have to add even more bits in, but this figure has got a lot going for it. One difference you can get with these figures as well, while I think about it, is in this mode where you can roll along on wheels. Some of the early ones, I believe, did come with rubber tyres, where this is the actual plastic version, though this was purchased when they just came out, so they couldn't have either manufactured that for long, or maybe just in different areas, but maybe they thought it was not worth continuing anyway. But anyway, that's his main attack mode, and obviously you can put missiles into there, and if they still work, no, the springs aren't any good anymore. They obviously did fire to a degree to start with, but probably just with years of use they've conked out on me. But yeah, so that's his attack based mode sorted. Now to obviously transform to robot mode, you need to remove those, bring the legs down and fold up the front section, and then you've got him standing up, so to speak. You then fold the arms round and pull them down to extend them, and obviously fit on his fists, which just peg in the end. Now you will notice that particular antenna is a bit temperamental, because it just stays up with friction over the years. That does get a bit loose, and it's worth noting the fact that if you get one of these second hand, that could well be a little problem you'll have. Bring down the other arm and peg that fist in, and then you can bring the guns forward. Again, press the button on the back, which will show you where that is now actually. It's just in the centre there. You press that little button in and his head pops up, and then you can straighten up his sort of head antenna, the ears, horns, whatever you want to class them as. And again, his antenna's dropped. That is going to be a little bit temperamental, obviously. It might stay there. And obviously you can peg these guns into his hands as well. And that's pretty much his robot mode sorted. Now, at this point, you're probably thinking, well, that's pretty much it. Pretty standard G1 blocky figure. And I'll give you a quick closer look around him. As you can see, you get a nice bit of chrome detail. His face is nicely chromed with red eyes. The chrome rocket launchers again. Lots of sticker detail, some sort of chrome plated, some normal, like G1 normal stickers. The worst ones got suffered wear are these blue stripy ones on the arm. They, just for whatever reason, because obviously you're moving the arms about backwards and forwards, they seem to suffer worse wear than any, yet really they're not on show, which is a bizarre kind of way. Again, you get chrome stickers for the legs. I think these ones were pre-applied. I don't remember putting those ones on, but a lot of these you did have to put on originally. Obviously you can probably retro label him, and I think they even do a set where you can even add even more detail to him. But he's a pretty impressive bot. Reasonable articulation for the size of him. You've got decent, obviously you've got waist articulation, you've got hip articulation, and you've got shoulder articulation. His head unfortunately can't turn due to the fact it goes up and down, and obviously back then elbow articulation was unheard of really in G1. But anyway, that's his main robot mode, and pretty good, pretty impressive, and really well armed. Anyway, Now we get to these accessory parts. Now something else you can do, and it did make an appearance in a couple of the Master Course, I think it was, line. That antenna's going to hug me. There we go. You take, and it's why he's called it obviously, all 6 guns, because obviously they class that as 2. You take the tower sections and you can line them, so you turn the tower part and peg it onto the hole in that part, so it's like that. You take the guns, now they've got a black post there and that pegs into those holes there. So they peg in like so. You take the red double cannon and you put that post into that hole, and that forms that part. And then you take these guns, and again, if we're doing it the way up that they show, you peg that into the sides of the white part, and you've got yourself 6gun, who is transformer in his own right. So he forms from the weapons. Now, due to the fact he's got guns for arms, obviously he can't directly hold his gun, which is the larger of the 2 small black ones I showed you before, but that's got a side peg, and on these guns, but only on one of them, because it's not actually moulded in on both. I'll show you the difference. That's the solid side, and that one you can see the light coming through there, and that's got a hole in it, and this gun pegs in to that hole. If I can line it up. Now I'm thinking these could well be the other way round, which is what I thought, although it showed it the other way. That could well be another little Hasbro moment of design. And then you peg it in from the outside, and that part shouldn't interfere with it fitting on. That's it, that's how it goes. So then he's got his own gun as well, though as if he needs one anyway, he's made up of them. But yeah, so you end up with a reasonably large figure. I'll bring the side reverse one in again so you can see size difference. Pretty good size figure, probably bigger than the average deluxe. I've got, let's have Bumblebee for a minute. I'll bring him in, and as you can see, a modern Bumblebee again is just a little bit smaller. So pretty good figure when you consider he's only made up of almost like spare parts really. But again, a nice little touch they did. Now I'll take them out of the way and I'll do Scamper next. Now you take his cannons stroke arms off of the top of the car, and you've got a small hole on the side there just behind the front wheels, and they peg in to there. And then you can transform him, because even he is a transformer in his own right, by just folding down the front bonnet, and that hinges like the roof of the car up and over like so, and he becomes a little robot himself. And that tiny little gun, and probably the rarest part of Metroplex to try and pick up afterwards if you're trying to complete one, is his gun. Now it's only a little tiny thing, again it's side pegs on, and that just goes in the hole on the side of his fist like so. So even he's got a little gun as well. But I was quite partial to Scamper, I must admit. I'll bring him in and try and pick out the details of him in the light. Although he wasn't very colourful, I did quite like the head mould. It's a little bit wheeljacky sort of in style. But I just thought, what a great little sort of add-on really to put with a figure. you know, the fact that they went to the effort of not only just making a small vehicle to go with Metroplex, but they made it transformable as well. Only downside is they could have just given him a little bit more colour, but then again, you know, even like with the add-on parts you get with figures like Fort Max and that, they did tend to stick to one colour mouldings on them, which is a shame, because, you know, with a little bit more detail picked out in different colours on him, he could have almost been worth producing on his own. But anyway, so that's Scamper as well. Now, another thing they do show in the instructions, and I'll get that out. I haven't actually got any of them to hand to do it, but they do also show another mode, which is almost like a super sort of combat mode, and that is that you can add on combiners. Now, they've used the aerial bots in this picture, what they've drawn, but as you can see, you can fit 2 on his legs and 2 on his arms. Now, to do that, you'd have to take off the knee sections, which I fitted earlier, and I won't bother taking off the other one just to show you, but it's on that section there. Now, that's the same kind of joint you get on a combiner when you connect the heads of the smaller robots into it. So they just sort of peg in there the way they normally would when they're combined, and you've got the same joint in the shoulder, so you can put the combiner there. Now, I never really did that as a kid, because, to be quite honest, why would you? It didn't really make a lot of sense to me to add on more limbs to a character that's already got all of his body parts fitted. You know, he's already got arms, so it didn't really make a lot of sense to add on a folded up plane or folded up car onto the side. So a little bit weird. I don't quite get that one. But again, they're probably just trying to add a little bit more play value to the figure itself. But other than the fact that it would have been nice if they'd maybe have had a little bit of electronics. It would have been nice if his eyes lit up, or he'd had some kind of bass noises he could have made. But again, for 1986, you know, what we got, I suppose, was sort of a matter of luck and what they could produce at the time anyway. But it is a great figure. He obviously is one what is very prone to colour fading in sunlight. I'm fortunate in the fact that mine has stayed pretty much as colours as when he was new. Now, you will notice there are colour differences in the plastic as well. I should point this out. It's not that he's faded or anything. All these arm sections and the lower leg section are a grey colour, light grey, but the leg sections here and his, I suppose his left shoulder part is whiter plastic. Now, that variation was always in that way. The grey plastic, this isn't discoloured, this is how he was originally coloured. And again, you can see that more even in that flap at the top there, and I suppose the light is just about picking out the 2 different colours in the shoulders. But yeah, it's worth noting that, and he, like I say, he is one for really for yellowing. You see a lot of them second hand where they've gone off in colour. Oh, that's another thing as well. His feet are the whiter plastic as well. But he did come with a lot of nice sticker detail, and I'm trying to get him sort of like in shot as best I can to show you some of his sort of detailing on him. Yeah, it's a really good figure. It's a shame that the arm stickers are peeling on this a bit, but I could always replace them, like I say, at some point. Repro labels do sets for him, but I'm a bit loath to take him away from being original. And that damn antenna's gone down again. Like I say, there, you've got to expect that with an old G1, and I suppose if you're just displaying him, it's not so much a problem because it will stay there over time. But yeah, I'll give you a closer look at all the others as well. I'll bring Sixgun in. He's got quite a good head mould, a little bit sort of Soundwave G1 primey sort of moulding, and sort of like, you know, quite nice moulding details on all these parts. I'll try and get it in the light so it picks them all out for you. Again, obviously parts like his white part, again there's something you've got to watch out for discoloration. Slammer is another example as well. You often see these parts where they're not nice and bright white like this. If anyone's watching this and you have got this sort of problem where they're discoloured, sort of like I did mention it to somebody on one of their videos where they'd got a metroplex and were trying to complete him, to have a look at my plastic sun fading repair vid I've done. I haven't had to do it on any of this, so I can't exactly say this is how it'll bring it back up, but when I get round to doing my Jetfire, I have done that repair on the whole of him, and you do see him for a minute in his packaging on that video, but I will do a review of him and you'll get to see that he is quite a nice white colour now, whereas before he'd gone a horrible yellow like some of these do. So it's worth it if you've got an old figure and you want to have a go at that repair. It's worth having a look at that, and maybe it saves yourself having to buy another figure again. But that's about it. Obviously you get things, you know, nice sticker details, the Autobot logos, his rub sign is obviously there. But yeah, the only other thing to mention is of course that they did bring out a recolour of this. Now it was never, as far as I know, released in England, but they do a Decepticon version in, I think he's in blue and red, and he's called Metro Titan. Now I wouldn't mind picking up one of them, and they do a reissue, and it would be quite nice to have the two of them, especially sort of stood side by side sort of thing as comparison. And he does come with all of these accessories exactly the same, but again in different colour schemes. So I think Scamper is in red, and I believe Slammer's in blue, and obviously Sixgun's in a variety of different colours according to the sort of like the style of it. But yeah, it's worth noting that if you come across one and you think, oh, that's some kind of knockoff, it might not be, and Metro Titan in himself, if it's a genuine one and not reissue, is a much rarer figure than this one. Certainly one I wouldn't mind picking up at the same time, but again, there's always more and more sort of grails, although people don't like, as from the Getting to Know Transformers fan, a lot of people don't like that title, but you know, you could say it's your want list, things you'd like to pick up if you find them. But yeah, that's Metroplex pretty much reviewed. I can't think of anything else offhand that I'd need to show you, so I shall leave it there. Hope you've enjoyed the review. Sorry it's a long one, but obviously he's a large figure, and I shall see you again for another Transformers review.